Hello, hello, good evening. Welcome to our weekly Wednesday Facebook Live crafting show. And I should say good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you're watching, or if you're watching on another day, welcome. If this is your first time joining me, I am Zara Premji. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Ontario, Canada. And every week on Wednesday evening, I do a Facebook Live crafting show, which I then save and upload to YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, hello and thank you for stopping by my channel. I am going to be making 3 cards today using one simple layout. So here's the backstory. First, I'm just going to say hello to a few friends. Hi, Maureen. Hello, Janice. Please do say hello as you are jumping on. I love chatting with you guys. It fuels me and gives me energy to keep going and makes me feel like I'm not just sitting here talking to myself. So please do say hello as you're logging on. And if you are watching the replay, please do comment below and say hello as well. I love to know who's watching the videos. And if you like what you see, show some love and hit the little heart and leave me some comments as well. I love to hear what you think about the project. Hello, Judy. Okay, enough about that. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing 3 cards using one really simple layout. And the backstory is that I connected with a friend this weekend, and she has been an important part of my life for years, although I haven't seen her for a couple of years. But she was really pivotal at the beginning of my stamping journey when I had started stamping and felt like a complete newbie and a beginner and was starting to think about doing classes here and there. She's the one that kind of encouraged me and said, just share what you love with people. You know, I can tell you're so passionate about it, and just share with people. So but it caused me to reflect back on when I first started stamping, and it's been 8 years. I'll be celebrating my 8th anniversary in March, and so I have been reflecting back a lot on the last 8 years, and particularly when I started stamping. And when I first got my starter kit, and when I first got my first order, actually, I did not know what to do with it. I did not know where to start. I was overwhelmed by all of the stuff in the box, and because I was a relatively new crafter, I didn't know where to start to make a card. And so, and that's not the first time that, or the last time that's happened. I still have moments where the creativity isn't flowing and I just am really struggling to design. Now, because I've been crafting for 8 years, I am what you'd probably call an avid crafter, meaning I have all the things in my craft room. I have all the tools, all the stamps, and sometimes I just like to go back to basics and just choose a really good layout and just create some simple cards, especially when I want to mass produce something. So that's kind of where tonight's design came from. I found a really cute layout that I have used before and that I really like, and I'm actually using it to create 3 different cards. So the layout is exactly the same, but I do think that the 3 cards are totally different from each other because I've used different paper patterns and stamp set, well, not stamp sets, but different stamps from one set. And I am featuring 2 products from the Saleabration offering. So I'm going to actually flip the camera down so that I can go through the Saleabration brochure. We have 4 days left in Saleabration. So that ends on February 28th. And this is our biggest promotion of the year. So I'm going to flip the camera down, quickly tell you about Saleabration and the amazing promotions that we have going on right now. And then we'll get started with crafting. So please do continue to say hello. Hello, Jeffrey. Nice to see you here. Hello, Rana. Oh, it's nice to have so many friends on. Everything that I'm going to be using tonight can be ordered in my online store. So if you do see anything that you like and you feel like you need to have it, and you're not already a demonstrator or don't already have a demonstrator, I would love for you to shop with me, and you can do that in my online store, and I'll be including a link in the description once we're done here. Okay, let's get this going. Hang on one second. Okay, let's get this positioned. All right. Okay, I think hopefully you'll be able to see that now. If you can't see properly on the screen, let me know, and I will actually try and do my best to stay in view. I'm just going to also find this on my computer so that I can continue to see comments. So if you have any questions or are just saying hello, I'll be able to see that. So just give me 1 second. All right, okay, there we go. I think that looks relatively straight. It's maybe a little crooked, but that's okay. All right, so Saleabration is our most exciting time of the Stampin' Up! Year. It's a huge promotion where you can actually choose products for free with a qualifying order. So there are different packs of paper, and there are some stamp sets in here. There are 19 pages in this little booklet. And so every time you spend $60 Canadian, you get to choose an item for free from here. So it's a really good opportunity to stock up on your crafting supplies. And I'll show you the items that we're going to be using on the projects today. So this is one. This is actually my favorite in the whole booklet. It's called the Flower and Field Designer Series paper. And that is this paper pack right here. You can see I've already cut into it. It's a 12 by 12 paper pack, and there are 12 sheets, and they're double-sided. And so these have these gorgeous bright floral patterns on one side, and then on the other side there are more like geometric smaller patterns. So I've got a sample of the paper here so you can see the different patterns that we have. So I'll show you front to back. Sorry, I should have done this earlier. Okay. It has already been a week. I can't believe it's only Wednesday. It feels like I've lived a whole week already. Okay, so these are the different paper patterns. And so like I said, you have some smaller patterns on one side, and then you've got these larger floral patterns on the other. So beautiful paper, and you'll see on the cards that we're making today that it just lends itself really beautifully to making some nice simple cards. So that's one product that we're going to be using. This is the other. It's called A Touch of Ink. This is a stamp set that is called it's a level 2 item, and what that means is that if your order is $120 or more, you can actually choose this stamp set for free. So there are 17 stamps in here, and these stamps are 2-step stamps. So what that means is that you will stamp the outline image, and then there is another image that you can stamp over it, and it's quite a forgiving technique, and it gives it this sort of watercolored look. So you'll get to see that today. I actually, full disclosure, have not used this stamp set until today for the first time. I've had it for 3 months, but I haven't used it until today for the first time. But I love it so much already, and this is one that I'll definitely be keeping in my craft collection. So this is the Saleabration brochure, and as I mentioned, I'll be putting links in the description. So if you want more information, you can find that there. And let me show you the 3 cards we're going to be making. So I've got 3 different colors, and these are 3 different patterns from the Designer Series paper. I'm going to give you measurements, and I'll walk you through how to create the projects, and then if you want to recreate them or use the same layout for a different stamp set or paper, that sort of thing, you can definitely do that. So let's get started first with this Petal pink one, and here are the measurements that I'm using. Excuse me. So you'll start with a card base. Sorry, my throat just got really dry there. You'll start with a card base that measures 4 1/4 by 11. So it's a top folding card like that. And you're going to score that at 5 1/2, and that will give you your card base. And then we've got a layer in the same color that measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Okay, so I've taken about 1/2 inch from the size of the front of the card base, and so we've got a layer that looks like that. And I have used my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and texture embossed this using the Tasteful Textile. So hopefully you can see the pattern on that. I've already done that in advance. And then you've got your Designer Series paper, and this measures 2 inches by 5 inches. So this is going to run along the left side of the layer. And then we've got a stitched shape square. If you don't have the stitch shapes dies, you can certainly just cut out a square that's large enough. And then I've got another little shape for my sentiment. Okay, so let's get started with actually assembling this card. So for this one, I'm going to use the floral image. And we're going to start, actually I should probably score my cardstock. I'll leave that here, and I will include the measurements in the description as well. So I'm just going to take my bone folder and just burnish that fold right there, just to get a really nice crisp edge. And then we are going to move on to our stamping. So I'm going to start with my Memento black ink, and I'm just going to stamp the outline image of the flower onto my white stitched square. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp that like that. Okay, and then I'm going to go over it with the second image, I guess you could call it, and this is the two-step stamping part. So this is going to go over top in Poppy Parade. So on the back of the designer series paper, there are all the colors listed, and Poppy Parade is one of them. So that just helps to take the guesswork out. So when you are taking your second image, you're just going to kind of look for where it seems to fit nicely over that first image, and you're just going to stamp down and up. So we've got our image there, and you can see that it has this beautiful, almost watercolored look to it, okay? Although I didn't watercolor it, as you can see. This stamp set also lends itself really nicely to coloring. So if you have the Stampin' blends or any other kinds of coloring tools, you could certainly color this. My purpose today is to show you some really easy ways to create cards using this stamp set, okay? So I'm gonna go with kind of the least difficult way, and then you can certainly add on any fun techniques you'd like. So I'm using the sentiment that says "Hello Friend," and I'm just going over this in basic black ink. Okay, so all our stamping is done. We can start to assemble the card. So I'm just going to move these aside, and I'm going to start with my designer series paper, and I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal. This is our two-sided tape runner. And I'm just going to stick that down to my first layer here. Now, when you're cutting cardstock, sometimes the layers match up really nicely, and sometimes there's a little bit of overhang. Actually, this one turned out pretty good. With some of my samples, I did have a little bit hanging over, so I just used my paper snips to trim that. So I'm just going to stick this down onto the card base. Okay, so this part of it is all done, and now we're going to just assemble and embellish. So I'm going to take my stamped square, and I'm using my Stampin' dimensionals. I'll put probably 5 of them, and then just peel off the backing and stick that down somewhere close to the center. Okay, so pressing that down there, and then I'm going to take my linen thread, and I'm going to tie a bow. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I love to do this look where I tie a bow with either twine or linen thread and then hide it behind the sentiment. So I haven't gotten bored of that that little fun way of embellishing my card, so you'll see that again tonight. So I'm just going to fix the loops here and then grab the glue dots. Hello, Debbie. Thank you for joining from North Carolina. How are you doing, and how's the weather there? There have been some interesting weather patterns all over the world right now, or all over North America for sure. It's been pretty, I think it was fairly mild here the last couple of days, but we did have a really good dump of snow over the weekend. The kids have enjoyed playing in the snow quite a bit. Okay, so I'm just taking my sentiment. I should probably have explained what I did there. So I took my mini dimensionals and I just put one on either side of the knot there. I don't want to put it on top of the knot because then the sentiment will be popped up too high. So I'm just sticking that down like this. And then you can trim the ends a little bit if you want. I do like them draping down the card a little bit. So that is most of the card done. The last thing we're going to do is just put a little bit of bling on the card. It's like spring today, but freezing rain tomorrow. Oh, great. Enjoy this while it lasts, right? I don't even check the weather anymore. I'm just always surprised. I think it was snowing, was it yesterday or the day before? I looked out the window and I was like, huh, more snow. I don't even check it anymore. Okay, so I'm just embellishing with some metallic pearls. You can add as many as you'd like. These are kind of small, so you could actually do This one doesn't want to stay down. There we go. Actually, maybe not. So yeah, you can certainly put 5 of them on here. They're pretty tiny. Let's see what this looks like with 5. Maybe like that. And then one more here. So you can just sprinkle it with some metallic pearls. What do you guys think of that one so far? I hope you like it. We got 2 more like this in different colors. So this is the Petal Pink one. The next one we're going to work on is the Pool Party. So I'll move this out of the way and we'll move on to the Pool Party one. So I love this pattern of the paper. This is probably my favorite in the whole paper pack. I just love the big flowers here. And then I just look at it to figure out what colors I want to use. And so I just like the little hits of Pool Party here and decided that that would be the card-based color here. So we've got this done. Let's move on to our stamping. And for this one, I'm going to use the Hummingbird. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm using my Memento ink again. And when you've got a larger stamp, you can just turn your Memento or your ink pad upside down just so that you are able to ink up the whole stamp. And then we're going to just stamp that. So because I'm using this stitched square and this hummingbird is larger than the last image, you just want to make sure that you are able to fit that in the area. So you might have to angle it a little bit. And there we go. And now we're going to stamp the filled in part. I don't know what you call this, the second step. I don't know what you call this stamp, but it looks like it's filled in. It looks like I'm coloring it in. Aw, I'm glad you like it, Janice. It's a really simple layout, and like I said, you can use this on so many different cards. I find that I have a few layouts that are just like go-tos for me. So when I'm, in a little bit of a creative slump, or when I need to make a bunch of cards, then I will kind of go towards 1 or 2 of the layouts that I really like, and then just keep using it over and over again. And you can make the cards look so different. So I'm going to use the thank you so much on this one. And then our stamping is done and we can assemble this card. So I'm gonna grab my seal again. I feel like I'll be done in like 5 or 10 minutes. This is a quick one today. Okay, so this one's pretty good too. I must have cut these really well. When I was doing my samples, they were not fitting so well. Okay, so we're going to put our layer down. You could change, there's so many different ways that you could adapt these cards to what you have. So if you don't have this embossing folder, you could use a different embossing folder, or you could just not emboss it at all. And if you wanted to create a little bit of texture on that layer, there is a background stamp that you could use. If I can find the stamp set, where did I put it? Here we go. So in this stamp set, there's also this one here that has this kind of splatter look. So you could actually stamp that on the background. So if you don't have the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine or you don't have these embossing folders, you could certainly just create your own little background here. And if you don't have, if all you have is note cards and envelopes, you could just completely use the same layout and put it on note cards and envelopes. Okay, so we're going to stick this down with the dimensionals. And are you having deja vu? Because this is almost the same as the last one. The third one we're doing, there'll be a little bit of a different sentiment shape on there because I couldn't fit it on this little scalloped rectangle. So that one will look a little different. Okay, so we're going to tie a bow. Again, you could change these up. I like, for the purposes of today, I'm just kind of sticking with the same embellishments so you can just see how you can take just a few tools and supplies and mass produce a whole bunch of cards, which is always fun to do. We do that every month with my team. So we do a monthly card swap, and we design a card, and then we make multiples of it and we mail them out to all the people that are registered in the swap. So people will sign up. Sorry, that's my phone going. Hopefully someone will pick it up. So we do a monthly card swap where we have a theme, and then we design a card and we make multiples of it. And then depending on how many people are signed up for it, we make that number and then we send them out. So it used to be an in-person, we used to have monthly team socials in person. And then of course, once COVID happened, we moved that to virtual. So we do it all on Zoom, but our card swaps, we mail out to each other. So we just had one that went out last week, and it was a birthday themed swap. And let me see if I can find my sample card. I might have posted this on the page. So this was the birthday swap that I had done. So I used the In Bloom stamp set and used Happy Birthday, You Really Are the Best. And then I used the Pierced Blooms dies to cut the flowers. So those were my swaps that just went out last week. All right, back to our regularly scheduled programming. I'm going to just embellish these now with the gold metallic pearls. And I'm just going to stick with 3 on here. Okay, so that is card number 2. I'll just clear up this space, and then we will move on to the 3rd and final card. And if you do create anything with this layout, I would love to see what you make and how it turns out. Okay, so our last one is going to be on the Misty Moonlight. So I will just burnish my cardstock here. What do you think of these so far? I love when I see all the hearts going, or the little thumbs up if you like it. Okay, so let's put that aside and we will do our stamping. So the last image that we're going to use for this card is the butterfly. And again, I'm going to stamp the outline image in the Memento black. How did I do this before? I think I might have, yeah, okay. I wonder if there's, yeah, there is a right side up for this butterfly. Okay. So there's that. And while I have this open, I'm going to stamp my sentiment that says thinking of you. Sadly, I have a couple of people that I need to send thinking of you cards to that are going through some tough times right now. And so I was thinking of them when I was creating this card. Okay, so now we're going to go in with our second, our 2-step stamp. And again, just looking at roughly where this might fit nicely. And it doesn't have to be perfect. As I mentioned, it's very forgiving. So when you stamp it, it will go outside the lines, but it looks like it's on purpose. So it's something that any level of stamper could use and be successful with. Okay, so let's start to assemble this card. And okay, this is a good example of what I kept talking about and was not happening. So this one here, if you look carefully, you can see that the designer series paper extends past the bottom of the card layer. So I'm just actually going along the edge and snipping off the excess. It's not too bad, but just so that I could show you what I kept talking about. So now I'm going to put this down onto my card base. All right, I don't know if I'm just not seeing comments or y'all are very quiet today. because nothing is moving on my screen. I hope it's all working and that I'm not missing your comments. Okay, so we are almost done. I am going to put my butterfly down using the dimensionals. I'll flip my phone back down and check the comments to make sure I haven't missed anything. Sometimes Facebook on my computer likes to hold out on me. Okay, so we're gonna put this down here. And the I didn't really mention, but the cardstock color I'm using here is Misty Moonlight, or maybe I did mention it. Oh, there's a comment. Thank you, Judy. Okay, I just wanted to make sure everything was working. You know what, Judy? I had a really long day with work, and then went straight into dinner, and I, full disclosure, did not have my cards designed for this evening's Facebook Live. And I was really struggling to kind of figure out what to make and what to use. And so I just find it's always a good system for me to go back to a layout. So if I figure out a layout that I like, and then I pick the products I want to use, I just find that that helps me get going with the crafting. So I finally figured out the layout, and then I was able to make 3 cards. So when you say whip them up in no time, it was a bit of a journey to get here to figure out what I was actually going to make. So hopefully this is helpful if you're ever feeling like you're in a creative rut. You just look for a good layout. And this is a good one, and I'll share the measurements again. Like I said, this is a good layout to use. And then you can mass produce a bunch of cards. Okay, so that is that. I just used a stitched circle. So this is from the same die set as the stitched square. I just used the smallest circle, and that was a perfect fit for the Thinking of You. Now for the pearls, I've been using gold on the others. However, because this one has a little bit more of a cool tone to it, I'm going to use the silver one. So in the metallic pearls, they're like tiny, tiny little pearls. You get 242 of them, and they come in a little sheet or 2 little sheets like this, and there are gold and silver. And I love the size of them and how they just add a little bit of bling without being too gaudy or tacky. All right. And I'm just using my Take Your Pick tool. I think I might actually do 3 on this one. Just sprinkle them. Don't overthink it. And so that is card number 3. So let me bring them all back into view so you can look at them all. Here are the measurements again if you want to quickly jot them down. And I will just bring in 2 of each so that you can see them. How easy that was to create these cards. All right, we're running out of space here. So those are the cards. I hope you like them. I am going to just flip the camera down to make sure that I haven't missed any comments. I will post pictures of these. And if you have any questions, or if I do forget to post anything in the description, let me know. These are the measurements here, and I will post those for you. Let me just flip the camera down and say goodbye. Ooh, there's my hand, sorry. Yeah, see, I was missing comments. These were not showing up on my, computer for sure. So hold on, let's see. Hello, Michelle. Oh yes, you can catch the replay. It should be a pretty short one today because I just did 3 really simple cards. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Rana. I'm glad that you guys like them. And yes, absolutely, sometimes less is best. So I hope that you've enjoyed those. I hope they inspire you to go and take this layout and create some cards. And if you have the Flower and Field Designer Series paper and the Touch of Ink stamp set, I feel like they go really nicely together. So try out the layout, send me pictures, and let me see what you make. And oh, I didn't even ask which one was your favorite. Thank you, Janice. See, I have to do that now. So you guys have to look at them again. So these are the 3 cards. Janice loved the butterfly Would love to hear which ones are your favorite. If you know me well, you know that I love pink, so I probably would be partial to Petal Pink, although I do really like the pool part. I can't decide. I like them all. So tell me which ones you love, and thank you. The hummingbird and butterfly. Yeah. So they're all, I like them all. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys all have a great rest of the week. I will be back here Sunday. Look at all, there's like so many different opinions. Some like the hummingbird, someone liked the butterfly, a couple of people like the butterfly, some like the flowers. Cool. I'm glad that you guys like them. And I'm glad that I made a variety of them so that there's something to appeal to all tastes. Okay, so I will be back here Sunday morning for coffee and a card at 10 o'clock, I think it is, 10 o'clock a.m. on Sunday. As always, if you have any requests or any projects or products you want to see, please do let me know. And that helps me kind of decide what I'm going to work with. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of the week and stay safe and be well. And I will see you soon. Bye for now.